We are live, people. We are live.
Welcome to live.
Oh,
Who's gonna take down 30 minutes? 30 minutes countdown.
I think that's me. I think
Okay.
that is me.
Okay, this one's really hard. Can you guys like help me out? I'll write as much as you guys say, and then I'll write the essay.
Okay.
Okay, it was me. Okay, and we can start.
Alright. So he wants us to talk about how fashion pretty much represents society. So a lot of the questions that he puts here are what sorts of inferences can you draw about society, and what sort of meaning can we attach to things in women's sense of what shape their body should have, or the fact that their hairstyles were simplified.
Became simplified, yeah. It was a fashion first,
hmm
and then it became
So we can start with
a normality.
the society part, and then from that it just kind of branches out to everything.
Okay.
So based on like pretty much based on like the changes in their fashion, what can we say about society or that 18th century society?
I can say that it was really influenced by what was happening in their time.
hmm
I'm just trying to find my notes. No, that's definitely not my notes.
Sorry, guys.
I'm like so stressed out. I keep eating Mentos.
Okay. So there was a war that happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember, and that influenced, the fashion there. I think it was the war with France and England.
hmm
France and England.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can't find it now. Yeah, but I mean, it talked about how, the trend changed a lot with what had happened. Like a lot of war was one. Another thing had to do with what's her name? Antoinette.
hmm
What's her name? So I found that it's kind of similar today. So Antoinette, Mary Antoinette. So she
hmm
was someone that inspired fashion in the 1700s. Well, late 1700s, and so it was kind of like whatever she brought out as the trend, like into fashion, everyone else followed because of her status, because she was well known throughout society. And
hmm
you see that even like today, for example, Michael Jordan, for one person, whatever he brings out, everyone in the sports industry will follow because of his status in sports, and then so forth. So I don't know. That's what I thought. Like famous people help shape the fashion in the society as well as problems
hmm
that I face.
That's a good example about Michael Jordan. Because according to what we read also, so like it was like a basic European fashion that everybody copied each other. So French and like what it mentions in the reading, that France and England had very similar fashions and they kind of copied each other.
Yeah.
But then once the breakout
I
of the war
guess. Yeah.
happened, then that's when they kind of got cut off from each other. So that's when the English culture and fashion started to change in French as well.
I'm just trying to find. There was another time where fashion in a society shaped fashion. But it wasn't just with like clothing. It was, what else was it? I mentioned in one of the readings how in the 18th century the ideal skin color was pale,
Yeah.
and like it said, it was connected with the fact that aristocrats wanted to show that they did not need to work, so they didn't want to be classed as those like the laborers. How when they're out about doing construction work, their skin is dark colored.
hmm
I thought that was quite interesting. It wasn't just about fashion, but the color of your skin.
hmm
And then your work status as well.
Which is interesting because according to that, when we read about the men's fashion, like their fashion,
Yeah.
yeah, their fashion was more adapted as a sense of transition or revolt. And as we read more, it's because the England's government started to change to a more democratic government. That's when the younger generation started to dress more accordingly to that democratic ideal, something a little bit more free. And then that's what it was classified as, like revolting or kind of rebellious in the eyes of
Yeah.
the older generation.
Yeah. That's true. What was the name of the guy who brought about that, like, kind of feminine twist?
His name is Brummel.
Yeah, that's it, Brummel.
Yeah, I only remember that because my principal's name in high school was Dr. Brummel. Yeah, so I should go back and ask him, like, hey, are you related to this guy?
And then you get a backhand from him. You go, what? I actually found it quite interesting because France, even today, is quite big when it comes to fashion as well. And that's what I feel. France and Europe just in general. Is Heidi Klum, like, she's the someone that came to my mind. Is she of English descent? Because she's not American, eh?
No, none of these are
Do you
American.
know who I'm talking about?
Who, Marie Antoinette?
Heidi Klum?
Heidi Klum?
Klum.
I don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I know she's an actress, but I don't know what she looks like.
She's in the fashion industry, so she's the one that does America's Next Top Model. So she's the one that hosts that as well as other things. Never mind.
She does?
So she married Seal. You know who Seal is? Nope.
Who? Seal?
Okay.
The guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's his wife. Or ex-wife. Right?
Let me go to Google.
Okay, so I have like about 4 ideas. No, 5 ideas from what you guys talk about the first question. Do you want me to go over it?
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
Heidi Klum is German.
Okay, the first one is the war that involved France and England that bring the trend change, and Marie Antoinette that inspires because of the status that she holds, and then 18th century where the ideal skin color was pale, transition revolt where England government become more democratic and young people are dressing more like democratic, and then Bill Brummel that set the fashions in the British society. Anything that you guys want to add? Anything that I just missed out?
No. It's pretty accurate.
Okay.
What's the next question?
Next question is, what sort of meaning can we attach to the changes in women's sense of what shape their bodies should have, or the fact that hairstyles we simplified?
Yeah, I think it's a typo. It's word simplified.
Or simplify, okay.
I know that they focused a lot on accentuating like the waist, like making that. So no, because it talked about how they started using bodice that go just below the bust, and like, and I don't think it actually explained. I don't know. I couldn't find it, but it didn't really explain why. It did it for me. I couldn't pick it out, but it just said that they just like to make the waist a lot more tiny, and so they use bodices, and so that became the trend. And males actually started. I want to kind of say they started to use that trend as well by cutting their jackets. So it talks about how the front of the jacket was like about halfway of the torso, what do you call this? The body, but on the back it still had a long tail. I don't know. So I thought that was kind of similar. How they were going with each other.
Let's say something as well, like the daytime dress is modest than the evening. So like they dress really
Yeah.
modest in the daytime and not really modest in the evening.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot to say in these pictures because like
Yeah.
it seems to me that women wore back then wore different types of dresses during the day, like throughout the day. I mean, because right here it says there's a Regency morning dress, then there's a
Yeah.
walking dress, then there's an evening dress,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Oh, okay.
ball
Yeah.
dress and young ladies dress. So for different occasions, the women change dresses.
Oh, okay. So I can just
I
write that.
kind of like that. Yeah.
I like that too,
I
actually.
like how they did that. Well, it's like they took pride, in the way that they appeared.
Hmm.
And I mean, we kind of do it as well. Like, I don't know much about you guys' background as like job experience, but if we were to work in an office, obviously we would dress to that standard.
Hmm.
And then when we come out, like you dressing more sophisticated with the suits and so forth. But then when you come home, you get into something more comfortable and casual. Then when you go to church, you're like dressed to that standard. And then when I don't know, yeah. So I kind of like that how for them they took a lot of pride on how they just presented themselves.
Hmm.
And I feel it says a lot about that era. I think we're a bit sloppy in the 20th century, you know. But then we're different now. Society is different to back then.
I'm taking notes. Um, so I want to kind of elaborate on what Lily was saying and kind of tie it into this. This is what sort of meaning can we attach to the changes. So I really think that it does go along with what Lily was saying about pride.
Hmm.
You know, because even the hairstyles changed. They said it changed from like the don't remember exactly where it said. Let me try to look for it right now.
So wait, you're saying that it changes because of pride?
It's a good form of pride, like they're proud of. They're just making a statement of who they are. It's like, for example, we're told often that first impressions really matter, and so for them it's like they're just trying to, I don't know, I guess make a statement of who they are, their credentials maybe, I'm not sure, but that's how I would. From the reading, that's how I feel it would have been like back then. It was all about status, like the higher class, the lower class. So you could tell by what you were wearing.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, some of the things that they like wore. I mean, for example, lambskin, more like for gloves, laces. Layer of clothing. To me, I would find that quite expensive.
Yeah,
They
and
layered themselves a lot.
they wanted to like show that they're worth or of worth
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense what brother Hancock was saying
It's the video.
on how they didn't want to seem like the working class.
Mm.
You know. Mm.
It's 15 minutes.
All right.
Just saying.
Oh.
I think it's 15 minutes.
Well, we only answered 2 questions. There's still like 4 more.
Okay, let's move forward.
I don't know. I feel
Okay,
like
well,
we could elaborate more, but I don't know exactly how to elaborate more on the meaning.
Mm.
Yeah,
You
that's where
want
it gets difficult.
you want to like go to the next question?
Yeah, we go to the next question, and if something comes up, we can come back to it.
Okay, so I'll read the next question. What does this have to do with the way women were thought of or taught about themselves? What is the significance of the empire waist? Why did men become simpler in their dress?
Okay.
I guess
So
men are just simple.
Phew, who are you kidding? I don't think so, because that guy, what's his name? What's your friend's name, Brandon? I forget his name.
my friend.
What's his name? The guy on the reading Bloom is?
Oh, Brummel.
Brummel.
Yeah.
Like him, I felt like he went from a muscular, not him, but fashion went from something muscular to something feminine within the men's fashion, because it talked about how they wore those breeches,
Yeah.
and then it went from breeches, well, yeah, no, it wasn't him that went from breeches to the trousers, or was it?
Yeah. As
I can't remember.
they used to wear breeches, then they started to wear trousers.
Yeah, but that wasn't him. He was the one that wore wigs, eh? And he liked to focus on intricate details. Was that him?
No, that's
Oh, I
actually
can't
backwards.
remember.
He was the guy that actually, like, because of him, they stopped wearing wigs and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah,
because
we
of
get one.
it's called dandyism. It's a dressing dandy.
Yes.
Yeah. So what it is like they basically got rid of like the old style and made it more simpler. So they put trousers instead of breeches. So like basically they went from skinny jeans to straight leg jeans. You know?
To me, I thought it was the other way around. I found like they went from skinny
No,
jeans
it's yeah.
from straight legs to skinny jeans. Or maybe that's the fashion today, because I know y'all be wearing skinny jeans.
Wait, so Bill Brummel is the one that makes everything simpler? Is that what you guys meant?
Yeah. As he was kind of like the catalyst or like the guy that started it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if I agree with the word simpler. I want to say he made it more for comfort than
Yeah.
simpler.
That's
I don't
that's
know.
a good way to put it. Exactly.
That's me, because they still were all about fashion,
Hmm.
you know, regardless. So that's why I didn't agree with simpler, because I'm like, heck, women. Speaking on behalf of women, it's like takes a lot of time to get yourself ready, pick out your outfit or what you're gonna wear.
That's one of the
Things
other
that, and it is not simple.
that's another reason why they call it simpler because of Brahmo's fashion, they put on less clothing.
Yeah,
You
good
know,
point. Yeah,
so in that
Hmm.
sense it
you're
is
right.
simpler because they have like their coats were shorter. They didn't have the long skirts. They were shorter, more simpler. But it is a lot more comfortable as well.
Okay, so what
1737.
about what does this have to do with the way women were taught of or taught about themselves? What is the significance of the empire waist? I felt like I read something like the waistline like dropped by an inch by 1818.
Yeah,
So like every time the year increased, the waistline drop, I guess. And then like if you look at the fashion now, sometimes you see like some girls with their pants like all the way up to their stomach.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. I think I understand it to be body size. Like, if they're decreasing in the waistline, it's meaning the skinnier you are, the more beautiful you are. And
mm-hmm.
like in fashion today, you know, girls that are like curved aren't considered as beautiful as those that are like bone. And it's quite ugly because we see all over fashion girls that fall under the what's it called? They become anorexic, and that's because people are telling them, okay, you got to get skinnier. I don't know. That's how I'm seeing that. So the smaller you are, the more beautiful beautiful you are. So that's what I
That's true too, because like
understood by waist.
I'm looking at the pictures to see how the differences in the waistline is.
Can't tell.
Alright, so I'm looking at the Empire gown, but you can't really see the waistline because
Yeah.
the robe it kind of hides it. Or only in the way of the picture, because she's kind of faced to the side. So you only see her side.
Yeah.
I felt like the waistline is like it used to be really tall and then it becomes really low and then now it's like going up and then like it's going down again. It's like not constant. It's keep going up and down.
It kind of goes along with what Lily was saying. So like it goes up, and exactly to show a lot more how skinny the woman was, because it basically traveled up her rib cage to just under the breast area. You know, so like the farther up you go, like it's just like the more, how would I say it, the more clinched it gets, like the more near the woman would have seen.
The more bigger the bust is, that's pretty much what it does. It makes your waist look tiny and your bust look bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I said. It accentuates on. Yeah.
So then going back to that question, with that in mind, so what does that have to do with the way women were thought of, or thought about themselves? Does it mean that they think they have to look more skinnier and bustier for the men? Or it could also imply something else, that it maybe was a challenge between the other women. I don't know. So like,
I want to say both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. It's all about status, right?
Yeah.
Status?
Totally agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like the slimmer you are, the higher your status is?
I think the more that you feel like you belong and within the social group, for example, like what I'm finding here is that you're not really cool if you don't have a smartphone or iPhone. And so if you don't have that, you're not considered of that class or the society because you don't have that. So for example, with the women, because they don't have that tiny waist, you know, they're not considered of that type of class. I don't know. That's just how I'd see it. So I think it's just a way of them feeling like they belong, you know, in a group. In society, so they have to do that to fit in.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
Luckily we have a girl in this group, or else like we don't know how to answer all of this.
I'm a lady, actually, not a girl.
A woman.
There's a difference. Yes. Yeah. So what's our next question? Because
Okay, why did men become simpler in their dress? So the next one is, why did some men become obsessed with having well-cut clothes?
It's cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me try to get the men out of the way.
Cleaner, simpler.
They
Josephine.
according to right here, they wanted to match more of the working class clothing adopted by all classes in France. So but as this was happening, the French Revolution was going on.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That's why Dandyism has this idea of being like revolting. You know, so maybe that's one of the reasons why men became obsessed with having the well-cut clothes.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, here's my remote. So it was during the Regency period, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got here. Oh, no, yeah, the revolutionary period. You're right. Here's, I don't know, maybe you could just put it down. I wrote it down. But like in regards to men's fashion and how we're talking about like someone of, you know, high status helps influence the way society, just like, you know, how we're talking about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
A guy back in the 1800s was Duke of Wellington.
Oh yeah, the
So
goal.
he became well known because Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon at the Waterloo in the 1800s. So it talked about he brought Hessian boots into style, and it wasn't really the style back then. So I don't know. That's just an example you could use.
Wait, what's the article? I mean, like what paragraph?
Oh,
Young.
it's the reading in men's fashion.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what paragraph. I can't bring up my screen. Sorry, but I wrote it down here on my notes.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
Hessian boots. Were you talking about that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Then it's talking about using him as an example. Oh wait, who's writing it? As an example of someone that influenced fashion. I don't know, just in case you need that as evidence. You can put him down for men's fashion. Yeah. What was the next question? We got like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. How do these things relate to such issues as relationships between men and women, or the fact that the middle class is gaining more power in England? Um, in a sense, we kind of answered that with the previous questions,
Yeah.
but we can elaborate more. Um, what I was reading again on the men's fashion, where was it exactly? Right here. So in parentheses it says contrasting in many respects with the macaroni of the earlier 18th century. So basically, the men wanted to dress perfect with like all these clean cut clothes in this certain style to contrast the earlier century. Okay. So to answer that question, um, it talks a lot about in here about democracy. It says end of sympathy with the new mood of democracy. So like
Wait.
sorry,
Where's Lily?
she's not on.
Yeah, she's not on. She
Oh,
got disconnected.
sorry, I didn't notice.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed it.
I hope
Okay, yeah,
I.
yeah, yeah. You could continue saying. I'm gonna type it out.
Okay. So it talks about democracy
Mm-hmm.
and how democracy was something that was coming about during this time. And so that has a lot to do with classes, higher class and middle class, and all these things. And because democracy is like the freedom to vote and stuff like that, it gives more power to the middle class, which empowered these people to dress in such ways, to kind of like prove it to them, to like shove it in their faces, like this is the new world, in a sense.
So you say like give more power to middle class and like give them
Mhm.
the opportunity to what?
I feel like basically what everything that's happening in government and in the world during the century kind of
Mhm.
led them to these ideas of dressing in this way, with the idea that the way they dress is kind of like in rebellion against the old ideas of thinking or the old ways of thinking.
Okay.
Hmm.
That basically replace the old idea with the new idea then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a lot simpler. Yeah, I tried clicking on,
Lily, do you want?
but it didn't work.
Lily, do you want to add anything?
Oh, yes, Lily. Okay, well, I think that's about time.
Okay.
Unless, oh, cancel. Unless there's anything else you would like to add.
I'm gonna like try to write out everything. I think I got a lot of points from you guys.
Okay. Any question you have, just message me and I'll try to
Okay.
answer it with. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Ending the broadcast.